Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. It is April 1st, 2022, April Fool's Day. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of achieving a healthy weight. Uh, all right. If you do enjoy my videos, make sure that you get subscribed to the channel. Also, make sure you click on the bell icon so you'll get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to join me in on the discussion, or if you'd like to participate in on the discussion with me, you can join me live at 4 p.m. most weekdays, or outside of my live streams, consider joining our Discord channel that we created. There is a link for that in the description below. Also, if you're interested in getting some ideas of the meals that we enjoy, we have created a link to a Pinterest board that has some of our family's favorite whole food plant-based meals. Today is day 517 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose over 210 pounds. I'm 17 months into the challenge. I have 19 more months to go. I'm looking forward to reaching my goal, hopefully within the next 9 months, and then maintaining that weight loss throughout 2023. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. How are you guys doing on your diets? If you've fallen off track, what are you doing to get back on track? What hurdles or what things are keeping you from getting started? And maybe, share some ways that you're making staying on your diet or getting onto a diet easier than the alternative. I'm going to switch over to the main page here. I hope everybody had a great evening last night. I got to spend some time with the kids and we hung out and just kind of had a chill night. It's really been awful with the weather recently. It feels like we should be getting into spring. It should be nice out, but it's still these freezing temperatures. We woke up yesterday morning, there was snow on the ground, and so it's been difficult to get out and do things, which I'm really looking forward to doing once the weather starts to get nicer. And this weekend, I'd love to get out, but it's going to rain this weekend. It's part of the being springtime here as we get a lot of rain. Um, Yesterday for dinner, we had mashed potatoes that Carrie made, and she mixed in the almond milk that she's been making and made them a little bit creamier and much closer to mashed potatoes than we've really had that I can remember. And I really enjoyed the potatoes last night. The only thing in hindsight, looking back, that would have made the potatoes better is I had put some of this barbecue sauce that Carrie made in some potatoes the other day, and that probably would have knocked those potatoes out of the park last night. It was just a little bit of that barbecue sauce to give it that flavor. Carrie saying happy Friday to you too. I hope everything's going okay at home and the kids aren't driving you nuts with all of their April Fool's pranks. Um, and I'd be curious to know how my April Fool's prank went as well, if it was noticed at all. Um, the uh yeah, so we had mashed potatoes that were really good. Carrie made some mushroom caps. She marinated them and baked them in the oven for a while. I really enjoyed them. The kids were not a big fan of them, but I mean, it's one of our, she says it was definitely noticed. Um our I messing with my son's computer screen. I took his display, I screen captured it, and then I flipped it upside down and made it his background so that when he opened his laptop, it would look like everything was upside down. So Carrie says that it was definitely noticed. So that's awesome. We had mushroom caps or mushrooms that I really enjoyed. Carrie enjoyed them too, I imagine. The kids, not a big fan of them. It's just tough when that's, you know, the texture of mushrooms and the flavoring is something that you have to get used to. And uh, kids are more adverse to those types of changes, I suppose, than we are as adults in some ways. Trying to think of what else we had other than the mushroom caps and the mashed potatoes. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, Carrie cooked an artichoke, and I I guess I never had artichoke. It's a really weird thing. He cooked this artichoke. It looks like a green big acorn, I guess is what it looks like. But um and then you just kind of peel off the leaves of the artichoke and you eat, like, you suck out the meat of it, I guess, out of the bottom of the artichoke. And then we do have an artichoke heart from that I imagine she has some big plans for. But the big thing for me last night that I ate a lot of the potatoes. I uh, didn't have any peanut butter, which I usually have peanut butter and Ezekiel bread. It's been a couple days since I've had peanut butter now, so I'm going through withdrawals a little bit. Got a little bit of a shake in my hand. Uh, but I'm hoping Carrie picked up. Oh, Carrie says no. There's no artichoke heart left. She ate it. You didn't even share it with me. That's some BS. Anyways, I haven't had Ezekiel bread, so that was something that I was missing out on last night. So I ended up eating a lot of the mashed potatoes. Just kind of every time I was hungry, I felt like I went and just grabbed more mashed potatoes. But I can't feel too guilty about just eating plain mashed potatoes with almond milk in it. No salt or no added flavors at all. Just something to fill my gut up. And I really enjoyed it. And then this morning we had kind of our standard oatmeal, our oatmeal that we were having for a year and a half or year and 2-3 months. We switched over to doing a little bit more savory oatmeal, but this morning we had our oatmeal with apples and bananas and almond butter in it. Um, and it was really good to have that this morning. Got that peanut butter fix that I've been looking for. It hit what I was, scratch that itch, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Uh, and so that was kind of the food. I've been mowing on a bag of dehydrated mangoes that we pick up from Costco that I try not to eat too much of them. I could definitely eat more than I do, but I had that last night and then some cashews as well. Carrie says she did pick up some peanut butter, so I know that I'm going to have some Ezekiel bread and peanut butter tonight or tomorrow morning or both, which is awesome. We just get this crazy Richard's peanut butter from Walmart that's made from just peanuts. So that was most of my food. The only other thing, I had half of an apple today at work. I don't generally eat at work, but Carrie says for dinner tonight, we're having pineapple fried rice, which is a meal we've had before, I'm pretty sure, and I do enjoy it a lot. But I don't generally eat at work, but Carrie and the kids were here doing some stuff in the warehouse, getting ready for an event we're doing for our nonprofit this weekend. And one of my daughters came up with an apple that was a huge apple that she had just kind of taken bites off the outside of it, around half of it. And so I ate the other half of the apple. So that would be the only thing I had to eat since breakfast this morning. And I don't generally eat during the day. So it was just something I had, I guess. It was better to eat half of it than to throw away the apple because she didn't want to eat any more of it. So today is April Fool's Day. And I'm here to tell you that they've been fooling us all along. the food industry has been making fools of us for decades. They think we're idiots, and in some regards, they're not wrong, in that we don't know that we don't what we don't know. And we try to kind of assume the best in people. And we feel like our government is here to protect us from the food industries, from making, you know, patently false claims or putting things in our food that can harm us. And a lot of times, what we don't know about the way industries work, that, like I said, we assume a lot of things, but what we assume isn't actual reality. Things like uh, industries that produce chicken, they can put saline in the chicken to increase the weight and the shelf life of that chicken, but they can also put other chemicals in that water as long as they feel like those chemicals don't cause any damage or any harm to people. It's one of those things where they don't get in trouble for it until after it becomes a problem, and after the consumers start to complain, and then the industries will look back and say, "Oh, well, we won't do that anymore. Sorry, we thought it was okay." Or there's a whole list of chemicals that are listed as generally accepted as safe chemicals. And there is a huge list of those chemicals. I mean, I don't even know how many is on that list, but companies are allowed to use these chemicals because they're generally accepted as safe. But over time, we find out that there are issues with those. One of them that comes to the top of my head is like a uh like a red dye. Like, I know that there was issues that, if this had a red dye in it, it was causing this kind of issue in people. Yes, Carrie says the self-regulation is a big thumbs down. Yes, allowing these companies to regulate themselves is a huge problem within the food industry, because there's only so much that the government can go out there and check and make sure, of different things. But the biggest way that they fool us is with the labeling of foods. They know that they need you to go to the store and purchase their product over the competitor's product, or to purchase their product instead of buying a bag of apples. They want you to buy their box of apple crisp. So they have to market to you in order to get you to buy their item. And so I have a list here of kind of some different ways that the food industry is fooling us, or they are tricking us into buying their products. And many of these are things that we all know, or kind of generally accepted. And that's one of the things that frustrates me the most about this whole thing, is that we know that there are psychological tricks that people can do in order to get people to act in a certain way. The one that always comes to mind is one of the first ones that I ever learned of, the first time I ever learned of this type of studying being done, and then the what those people did with the results of that study. When I was younger, our elementary school went on a field trip to the University of Iowa college campus that's not too far away from where we are. And so we took a bus, we went up to the University of Iowa, and we toured the campus. And one of the things that they let us do on that tour, they had us do on that tour, was to go to the Carver Hawkeye Arena, which is where they do their basketball games and their wrestling, and all their indoor sporting events happens at the Carver Hawkeye Arena. And the tour guide loved to tell us the story about the visitor locker room at the arena, because they have painted, and this is 30 years ago, almost 25 plus years ago. So it could be different, but the visitors' locker room was painted a light shade of pink because the scientists that study color found that a light pink color creates the least aggressive attitude in people. So they took this information, the studies that were done, and they used that information to create an environment that caused these people to maybe be less aggressive. Who knows if it was a tangible difference, but they took the time to do that so that it became a thing. And even if it didn't cause them any type of physical or any type of difference in the way they played, the idea that they were playing that game alone could have had a placebo effect on the opponents. That could have, because when the opponents go in and see that it's painted pink, and then they're open about why they painted it pink. We painted it pink because you're going to play less aggressive, and then in the head of the opponents, they're thinking about, well, am I going to play less aggressive? In hindsight, did we lose that game because they painted the walls pink? Was it our fault or was it theirs? And it creates maybe a physical difference, but it also creates a psychological difference. But we allow the food industry to take those same studies and put them into the products that we're buying. If every company was required to make their labels white with black lettering, and that was all that was allowed on the food products, we would see a much different environment when we go into these grocery stores. Now they get to use any color they want. They can make the pictures as big as they want. They can put the labels however they want. They're given complete autonomy on their marketing towards the people that are purchasing the gifts, or it's not the gifts, but the foods. And, there's lots of tricks that are very open that everybody knows about. They put the milk in the back of the store because that's one of the things that people buy all the time. And so you have to walk through the entire store in order to get to that product that people buy regularly. And then along the way, oh, look, there's a candy aisle the whole way. Or, hey, look at these deals we have that you have to walk by in order to get to those staple items that everybody is buying. The other tricks they use is product placement. They put things like in the cereal aisle that are marketed towards kids. They put them at the eye level of kids. The items that they don't really have any marketing for, like the shredded wheat or things like that, are either put on the very bottom shelf or they're put on the top shelf because they know that the people going to buy shredded wheat don't care where the shredded wheat is on the shelf. They're just going to buy shredded wheat. Whereas the people that are buying their kids some sort of sugar cereal like Lucky Charms or Cinnamon Toast Crunch, they have to get that kid to tell their mom, I want this one. I want the Lucky Charms. No, I don't want the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And so they create these things on the boxes that the placement of the boxes, and those are things that we kind of always knew. Um, and then some of the other things that they do that are maybe a little bit trickier or that we don't really think about is like on the front display of a box. Like if you look at a box of Lucky Charms, on the front of the box, there's big lettering that says gluten free. And, it might say low in fat or something. I'm not sure exactly what the Lucky Charms has on the cover of it, but I know it says it's got gluten free. And so they put these things on the front of the label, and there's an industry term for it, and it's called facts up front. And they put these things up on the front of the box so that people think of those benefits of buying that cereal. Like a cereal might say on the front of it that it is full of calcium or it's high in vitamin D, or other foods might say they're low fat or they're cholesterol free, and they make sure that they put it big on the front label of there. But you can say that Lucky Charms is high in calcium or it's got a lot of vitamin D in it, but what they're not saying is that per serving there's like 12 grams of sugar per serving. And a serving is just 1 cup, which is not a lot when, when you look at the food as a whole. So they tell you, hey, it's great. It's got calcium, it's got vitamin D, low in saturated fat, low in cholesterol, but they don't tell you, hey, this is chocked full of sugar. This has got the most toxic chemicals you could possibly put in a food. But hey, gluten free, you know. And then another trick they do is they make the labels on these boxes difficult to read or hard to disseminate. They'll take the label and they'll make the calorie thing real big in bold letters, and or they'll, like, in the description of the food, like in the ingredients list, they know that if they make all of the words cap locks, like if they just make them uppercase letters, that it's more difficult for people to read and they'll give up on reading it because they're having a hard time reading it in that format. Um, and so they do a lot with the labels in the sizing, in the shape, in the placement. All of these things are on purpose. There's nothing on any packaging that you buy from the grocery store that isn't on there on purpose, intentionally, in the spot, in the place where it's at. And they put, other things that they do on the labeling of the box is they put these misleading health claims on there. They'll say helps prevent joints or helps protect your joints, or um, part of a balanced breakfast. Like they're they're partial true claims, or they're kind of, you think that those claims might help you out. Like, if you're looking between two different types of yogurt and one of them says that it helps protect your joints, maybe you buy that one because you've been having joint pain recently. And so they know that they just need to get you to buy their item over the competitors or over the healthy alternative. And they know the words you're looking for, like the word high fiber. Something like 66% of people look for foods that say high fiber on them. And when it says that it's high fiber, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the fiber, that it doesn't mean that it's the type of fiber that you're looking for. A lot of times foods will have a fiber in it called maltodextrin, that is not a beneficial fiber for you. It's not the fiber you're looking for, but it is a fiber, so that they're able to advertise it as that, or in that way, on the food. Another thing that they do is they use words like whole grains, made with whole grains. Well, guess what? They just used the word with. They didn't say it's made of whole grains. They said it's made with whole grains. That means that there is some form of whole grain in that food. It doesn't mean that all of the food is whole grains. All of the grains that are in there are whole grains. It only means that it doesn't even have to be predominantly with whole grains. It's just that they're present. And so when you look at the labeling, you need to look to make sure that it says whole wheat, whole, it uses the word whole in the descriptor for all of those ingredients that are in the food. Another way they fool us, another trick they use, is in the naming of the company itself. The FDA can make rules and they can enforce rules and regulations about the claim something can make, a food product can make. They can stop people from using specific wording in their advertising when in regards to the ingredients and the outcomes of the food, but there's no regulation in the naming of a company. And one of the examples, there's a few examples, but one of them is the company Vitamin Water. Vitamin Water is the name of the company. That means that that doesn't mean that there are any vitamins in their water. It's just the name of the company. And so people think, oh, vitamin water, it must be infused with a bunch of great vitamins, when the vitamin that it has in it is probably just sugar or mostly sugar. Other foods that use names as a deceptive way to get you to buy their product are things like the smart food popcorn. What makes their popcorn smarter than anybody else's popcorn? It doesn't make you smarter to eat popcorn, but if it says smart food on it, then you think, oh, this is food that's going to make me smarter. Or the Snackwells is another example of a company that they put Snackwells on their product, and you think, oh, well, this is a good snack. And so in the naming of the company itself, they use this deceptive to fool you into buying their products. And then one that I've gone over before a lot is the serving sizes. They can make the serving sizes whatever they want in order to get the result they're looking for on the side of the box. And one of the examples I talked about before was comparing shredded wheat and Cheerios and Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And a serving size on the box of shredded wheat is 1 1/3 cups, whereas the serving size for Cheerios is 1 cup. So it's a third less of a cup for the Cheerios. And then Cinnamon Toast Crunch is also 1 cup. The thing too that they don't talk about is that 1 cup of shredded wheat has more weight to it and is more dense than 1 cup of Cheerios or 1 cup of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. So a cup and a third of shredded wheat weighs 60 grams, whereas a cup of Cheerios only weighs 28 grams. In order to get to the same weight in food, so if you wanted to have 28 grams of if you wanted to have 60 grams of Cheerios, which is the same as what a serving of shredded wheat is, you'd actually have to have over 2 cups of Cheerios because the food is less dense in its dry form than shredded wheat is. So they trick you into thinking that, hey, because the nutritional label on the side of a box of Cheerios says that it's only 100 calories per serving, that it's better for you than shredded wheat because shredded wheat says it's 210 calories per serving. And really, they also, if you look at the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, they do the same thing. The Cinnamon Toast Crunch, for a serving of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, it's 170 calories. So you are looking at two labels, and the Cinnamon Toast Crunch says it's 170 calories per serving. Shredded wheat says it's 210. Without looking at the rest of the labeling, you're going to just you're going to assume that the Cinnamon Toast Crunch is healthier. Like, nobody thinks that, really. Shy Shy Sarai. I'm not sure how you say your middle name, but hey, thanks for checking out my stream. I hope everything's going great with you today. I'm just talking about how the food industry tricks us. They're making fools of us by these labels. They make these serving sizes, these ridiculous things that you that they make them whatever. They adjust the serving sizes however they can to make their product look better. And that's all they care about, is they need you to choose their product over the competitors. And so one of the things I was going to do, I had just pulled up two different products that I was going to look at how they're advertising this product on the internet, just on their main page, I guess, here, and kind of some of these deceptive practices that they're using even on this online system here. So let me switch over here. The first one we're going to look at is Original Lucky Charms. So of the things I talked about, the first thing that kind of I notice here is this big word gluten-free. They're going to push that this product is gluten-free. That is what they say here. They have it on the box as well down in the corner. I don't think I can get this image to get any bigger, but And then here on their advertising, they got these flashing lights and these stars around it, making it look like it is just magical. Um, and then even in their ingredients here, you look, they have lots of bold words here, like the whole grain oats, the sugar, the cornstarch, the modified. And then these things that are they're 2% less of, these are not in bold letters, like the yellow dyes 5 and 6, blue number 1, uh, and all these trisodium phosphate, like they that's not what they're trying to push. They're trying to push those other things. Again, the serving sizes is 140 calories, and then this is a half a cup of skim milk. It's not whole milk, it's not 2% milk, it's not uh it, not 1% milk, it is skim milk, you know and there's a lot of people out there that when they're feeding their kids milk, they buy vitamin D milk or they buy whole milk. So the actual calories that your kid is going to be consuming is actually more than the 190 calories, but that's what they put on here so that it doesn't look so bad on the product. Um, some of the other things that I notice on here too is I talked about the sugar. There's 12 grams of sugar. There's no mention of they don't have how many grams of sugar up here. Only 12 grams of sugar. They don't have that listed anywhere. And then one other thing I noticed on this page, if it'll let me scroll down here, that all of these percentages here, this is how much of your percentage of vitamin D, your percentage of calcium, percentage of iron, potassium that you need, and how much this has of those. One of the things I thought was interesting was that, and a lot of products I think do this, but these percentages of daily value are based off of a 2,000 calorie diet. And so a 2,000 calorie diet is actually less than what most people. And so these percentages are higher than if they did this percentage daily value off of a 2,400 calorie diet, um, which is more likely what people are eating. Or like I was eating 3, 4, 7,000 calorie diet. That was a much different number. This percentage would be different if they were basing it off of a higher calorie count, but they use 2,000 so that they can make these numbers look a little bit bigger. Shy's on here also pointing out too that this container has 14 servings inside of it. Yes, that's the other thing. I, as an adult, if I ate Lucky Charms, a box of Lucky Charms is like 3 servings, or three meals. It's been a while, even before I started this, that I sat down and just pounded cereal, but especially like something I really like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I could sit there. Oh, I rolled this up too. Yeah, 14 calories per serving here is what I was trying to show there. I'm sorry, 14 servings per container. Gosh. Um, but that wouldn't last me 14 meals. That no way I would go 14 meals out of this box. This is a 3-meal box for somebody like me. This is not a 14-meal box. So that's just some of the ways that they're tricking you. They got these bright colors. Like I said, they got the stars there, things like that. And then also like the Lucky Charms guy, like that is a marketing ploy. That's a marketing technique to because I recognize that guy. I recognize Toucan Sam. I recognize Tony the Tiger, all of these Captain Crunch, like all of these characters that were created when I was a kid to get me to go buy these foods, because when you watch Saturday morning cartoons, you would see these advertisings for these different things. I mean, I can specifically remember how the Keebler Elf House is shaped and what it looks like because I saw so many advertisements for Keebler Elf cookies or whatever they were called. Like the name of them now. So the name is not important though. That wasn't like I said, I don't have to remember the name. I just remember the image and I remember the product. Um, Another product I was going to look up, and this is a product that I quit eating years and years ago, but that would be the Hot Pocket. Uh, there was a time where I would eat lots of Hot Pockets, but not so much recently. And a thing with a Hot Pocket too is that one Hot Pocket is never enough. You know, like it's something where there was a um uh it was, I think it was a Jim Gaffigan bit where it was Hot Pocket where he goes Hot Pockets, and the whole kind of thing about that too is that like two Hot Pockets or one Hot Pocket isn't really filling, and then two Hot Pockets turns into a meal, and then it snowballs into multiple Hot Pockets. So, but this site, I mean, really, it's a pretty simple site. There's not a whole lot going on with the site itself, you know, like the last one we were looking at, where they were trying to get you, you know, with the shiny lights and the bright packaging and things like this. But this is just kind of an informational site. But some of the things that I noticed right away here is, you guys probably can't read it, but right in the middle there, it says made with real cheese. Like that's one of the things they want you to know, that it's made with real cheese. Doesn't mean that it's made completely of real cheese. And we'll go over that in a minute. But then down here, they talk about the Hot Pockets ham and cheese, 30 by 4 ounces. So I'm not sure if that's like to buy a box of them or something. I'm not sure. But um, the description of it, that's savory, hearty, hickory smoked ham smothered in smooth, melty cheese and garlic cheddar cheese crust. You know, why do they need the word savory? Why do they need the word hearty? Why do they need smothered in smooth melty? Those are all words to entice you to buy their food. And then this, it's a portable snack. It's portable. You can throw it in your pocket, eat it wherever you want. Just let your body heat warm it up. Um, and then it says here that it's a good source of calcium. It's made with real cheese and has no artificial flavors. That's crazy. Got real cheese, no artificial flavors. It must only have just a few ingredients, right? Well, let's go look at the ingredient list. Holy shit. Look at that. The first ingredient, enriched flour. It's just one ingredient here. Enriched flour. One ingredient. But that one ingredient is made of wheat flour, malted barley flour, niacin, iron, thiamine, mononitrate, riboflavin, and folic acid. Like, just to make the enriched flour. And then the second ingredient in this dry product is water. Then you got the fully cooked hickory ham and more water. And then it says here 25% of weight is added ingredients. So I don't know what ground and formed means. I don't even know. So the natural smoke flavor. And so these, I don't know if these are in order anymore or not. You know, I know that a lot of times in product labeling, they have to put them in order of the amount that is in each food. But it seems weird that natural smoke flavor would be above where the cheese is. They haven't even listed cheese yet, and we're 4 products in. So this natural smoke flavor is cured with water, salt, sugar, sodium phosphate, dehydrated pork broth, potassium chloride, carrageenan. I don't even know what this word is. I've never seen this word, I think, before in my life. And then the natural smoke flavor. So wait, it's natural smoke flavors added, but then it's one of the ingredients of the natural smoke flavor. Sodium etherthorbate, sodium nitrate, and then finally we get to the reduced fat cheddar cheese, which is pasteurized part skim milk, modified food starch, cultures, salt flavor, potassium chloride, annatto, vitamin A, palmitate enzymes. Ingredients not in regular cheddar cheese have star in them. So the modified food starch is not normally in cheddar cheese, in their cheddar cheese. The flavors, wait, the the cheddar cheese flavor is not in reduced fat cheddar cheese. Potassium chloride is another product that is not found in regular cheese, but it is found in their reduced fat cheddar cheese. And then the next ingredient after the real cheese that they're advertising up here right on the label, I'm sure it's big on the box too. After their reduced fat cheddar cheese, which is mostly real cheese, but it also has some things that real cheese don't have in it, I guess, is imitation cheddar cheese. So it's made of more real cheese than the imitation cheese, but it's right next to it. And all of this is 25% of, maybe that's just the hickory ham. I'm not sure. But anyways, so even though it does have reduced fat cheddar cheese, not full fat cheddar cheese, not regular cheddar cheese, reduced fat cheddar cheese, it also has imitation cheddar cheese, which is just water, modified food source, casein, soybean oil, whey, contains 2% less of salt, sodium, aluminum phosphate, sodium phosphate, lactic acid, sodium citrate, natural flavors, annatto for color. Seasoning is the next ingredient, I guess, after the imitation cheddar. It's just seasoning. They already had natural smoke flavor, but they added seasoning, which is whey. Cheddar blue cheese is in the flavoring. Pasteurized milk, cheese culture, salt, enzymes, buttermilk, natural flavors, maltodextrin, coconut oil. There are like 100+ ingredients in this one Hot Pocket. To me, it looks like there should be 5 ingredients, right? Like the ham and the cheese are the 2 ingredients on the inside. And then the outside, the bread should be made of flour, salt, and water, right? Is that all you need for bread? So it should be a 5 ingredient thing. 100+ ingredients in this food. They don't say that on there. And the reason why they put these 100 ingredients in this food is because they have to get it to not be ridiculous when it comes to the nutrition label that I'm not going to be able to show you all of. Change my. Okay. So yeah, I mean, and so I'm like not even, I'm maybe a little over halfway through these ingredients and I'm already over it. Like, like by, I mean, after the enriched flour and then having to read 10 ingredients that are inside that enriched flour, nobody's paying attention. And then the other thing that this is doing that is one of the tricks I talked about is all of this is in caps lock. All of this is in uppercase. Do you know how tough that is to read this in uppercase and try to figure out what is what with all these commas, all of these brackets on these words? You know, like this is extremely difficult to disseminate and to look through and to be like, well, okay, so there's wheat flour up here, or there's salt, you know, where's the salt right here? There's salt here. Why is there salt here? 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 In fact, there's 9 times that the word salt is in this nutritional label. Why isn't it just listed once at the top? You know, like that's, you know, it's ridiculous. You know, these labels are just crazy. And so then, yeah, you go down to the calories, and this is one Hot Pocket. I've never eaten one Hot Pocket in my life. They sell them in boxes of 2, and I usually eat 2 boxes if I were to eat one. I've eaten a whole box of 12 in a day before. That's a story for a different day, maybe. But so one Hot Pocket is got 250 calories, 7 grams of fat, 4 grams of saturated fat. So it's more saturated fat than unsaturated fat. Uh, 15 milligrams of cholesterol, 430 milligrams of sodium. Got 37 grams of carbohydrate. There is less than 1 gram of fiber. Less than 1 gram of fiber in all 250 calories of this product. 4 grams of sugar. 2 of those grams are added sugar. Yeah, it's so long, right? Like, it's just crazy. It's taken me an hour just to go through this one label. Got 8 grams of protein, got vitamin D, calcium, iron, all those things. And again, all of these daily values, the percentage of daily values here. This is 20% of the percent of the saturated fat, 19% of the sodium. Got 10% of your daily value of protein, 6% of vitamin D, calcium, iron, and that is based off of a 2,000 calorie diet. Guess what, folks? Nobody that chooses to eat a Hot Pocket eats a 2,000 calorie diet. Anybody who buys Hot Pockets, me being one of the people that used to do it, they are not concerned with their overall calorie intake for a day. And they sure as heck are not eating a 2,000 calorie diet. And so these are all just tricks that they're using to get you to buy their product. If on their label, if on the box of Hot Pockets, it said made with over 100 ingredients, people wouldn't buy their product. They'd be like, what the hell? There's supposed to be 5 in there: ham, cheese, salt, flour, and water. I mean, wow, ridiculous. And so that's just 2 examples. That's just the Lucky Charms and the Hot Pocket. And maybe they're the 2 worst ones out there. I don't know. But that's just 2 of the thousands of products that are on the shelves at the grocery store, that they do everything in their power to make you want their product over the competitors. They want you to buy their product over the healthy alternative. We have to stop letting them fool us. Don't let them make a fool of you on this April Fool's Day when you go shopping and pick up your groceries. Stick to the produce section of the store. Stick to items that are made with whole ingredients. When I go shopping, I buy things like corn that is just corn in the can, or I buy Crazy Richard's peanut butter that is just peanuts. There's not maltodextrin, and I don't know, I could go through this list here and name a bunch of different names, modified food starches. Yeah, just crazy. Yeah, and so you guys have to realize that these companies are not our friends. They do not care about our health. All they care about is increasing their profit so that their shareholders go to bed with a smile on their face and they keep investing in their company year after year. Not about your health. None of these companies care about your health. If they did, they wouldn't be putting all this crap in the food. They would just be making whole food. But that's not what they are doing. They are doing this to get you to buy their products. They know they do not have to satisfy your hunger. Nobody in the United States, for the most part, and especially if you're probably watching my stream, is going to death because they don't have access to food. Nobody is going to the store making decisions based off of their hunger needs. They're going to the store making the decision based off of their cravings. You have to realize that they are just trying to trick us. That's going to be my stream today, guys. Carrie says that is so frustrating. Yes, it is so frustrating. And it's known. Everybody knows that they do this. It's not a secret. I used to work for an electronics company, and we knew that product placement was extremely important to getting to people to buy electronics. And when you're selling consumer goods like that, that's one thing. But when you're selling people the food they need to survive, it should be illegal. You know, when you watch a TV show or a movie and they don't have an advertisement for a product, it's just like a can and it says the word beer on the side of it. That's the way our food should be packaged at the store. It should just be a blank thing with the name of the food on the side of it. And if that were the case, I think that we would all be a lot healthier because we'd be less apt to make these impulse choices. So I'm going to get out of here, guys. Thanks for checking out today's broadcast. It was a long one, over 50 minutes. So if you're still watching, I really appreciate you guys following along and checking it out. Shy, thanks for participating today. It was great having you on stream. Carrie, thanks for being here. It's always awesome to have you here. I'm going to get out of here. If you guys haven't started your diet yet, get started right now. There's no reason to wait. There's nothing coming up that's more important than your overall health and well-being. Nobody gets to their goal, looks back and says, I wish I would have waited. What was I in a hurry for? I mean, it was just, I could have waited another 2 weeks, you know, and then I nobody says that. Everybody looks back and says, what was I thinking? I do the same thing. I wish I would have started weeks sooner. I wish I would have started months sooner. Everybody regrets not starting sooner. So get started right now. Don't fall for the myths of moderation, the myth of moderate change, the idea that you're going to slowly cut out the junk food and all these highly addictive, highly toxic foods over the course of a month or a couple months. It's great in theory. It's almost impossible in practice. You need to make the change once. You need to make that decision one time to get rid of the junk food, to get rid of the processed food, and never bring it back into your life. Just like an alcoholic gets rid of alcohol and never brings it back into their life, you need to get rid of the processed foods. You need to get rid of the fast food. You need to cut those things out and say, I'm done with them, and I'm done with them for the rest of my life. There's no reason to go back to those places. The other myth of moderation, the myth of moderate consumption. If you really want to listen in on that, go to yesterday's live stream. I went on about the myth of moderate consumption. But you guys, the idea that you can just eat less, if that was the truth, if that was truly possible for most people, everybody would be skinny. There wouldn't be a single fat person in this world if all we had to do was just eat less. If that's all you have to do, just eat less. Eat what you love, just eat less of it. But what you love has been specifically, scientifically engineered to make you overeat. So how is that going to work? How are you going to eat what you love that's designed to make you overeat and beat that scientist or beat that engineer that spent millions of dollars developing the perfect taste, the perfect texture, the perfect crunch? It's not easily done. It's nearly impossible. It's so much easier to just abstain, to just say, I'm done with it. I'm going to eat large, huge volumes of whole plant foods. So don't fall for the myths of moderation. Thanks again, guys. I will be on Monday. I hope you all have a great weekend. Try to get outside, get some of that vitamin D in you, hang out with your family, do something fun. Come back Monday. Let me know how you're doing. You guys all have a great weekend.